your belief is that it is possible to weave AI into the fabric of businesses. So, how do you envision AI platforms integrating more closely with business strategies and executive decision-making processes today or in the future?
Well, let me kind of answer in two parts before getting to the platforms question. Let me start before we even talk about technology, and then I'll come back to the platforms part of it. So, what I mean by weaving AI into the fabric of the business is that the way for a company to get the most value from data science, ML, AI is to start with a really deep understanding of how their business works and what they're trying to optimize for and solve for, and then work backwards from there to figure out, well, how can models or how can AI techniques help us do that better? And that may sound obvious, but it's surprisingly uncommon. Far more common, unfortunately, is sort of the reverse or the backwards approach, where companies think like, oh, what can AI do? Or it's like, well, what data do we have, and can we like throw some AI at that and see what comes out? And that's all backwards. There's one of our customers is Verizon, and the woman who used to run data science there, I think she's a chief data and analytics officer. Her name's Linda Avery. She's given a great talk about this idea of working with your organization to build a value tree for data science and AI, which is to say, okay, what are the most important metrics to your business? Forget data science for a second, and then what are the highest levers that drive those metrics, and what are your key strategic assets that you have as a business? And from there, you get down to, okay, well, what are the creative or imaginative ways we can come up with for using data science and AI to move those needles? So, if it's an insurance company, it's okay. How do we better assess risk? How do we better price our policies? How do we provide a differentiated customer experience? Because if you believe that over time the competitiveness in the insurance space is going to be a race to the bottom on price, and if your strategy is win on customer experience, that's kind of how you start. So then you say, okay, well, how can we use data science to, for example, improve everything all of our touch points with customers and give customers the best possible customer experience? But if you're an asset manager, then you're going to be looking at, okay, well, how do we identify sources of alpha more rapidly? How do we build more automated investing strategies? And that's the key lever to pull for your business. If you're a pharmaceutical company, it is, how do we get innovative therapies to market faster? And then you work backwards from there. Okay, well, where's the bottleneck in our pipeline? Is it early ideation and discovery? Is it the clinical trial process? And is that where we think we can shave time off the pipeline? And so you take this top-down optimization problem by looking at your business and what are the key drivers you're trying to move the needle on. So that's what I mean when I talk about like weaving AI into the fabric of the business. It's not a thing you go and sprinkle on. It's a thing you say, well, as an executive team, we're planning our business. What's most important? What are the KPIs? What's the strategy? What do we view as our most important assets? And that's how you prioritize your AI projects. Does that make sense?
Makes a huge amount of sense. And I think you articulated it extremely well, but this is something that we've talked about on the show before. You're not the first person who's kind of had this general hypothesis, if I'm reiterating this correctly, that you don't want to go from seeing some new AI hammer to trying to find some nails in the business to apply that to. You identify where are the biggest opportunities for automation, where can we make it the biggest strategic lift, and then as part of that solution, maybe AI can be one of the answers, maybe not.
Right. And back to our earlier conversation, maybe Gen AI isn't the right strategy or tactic for a particular opportunity. Maybe traditional ML is, maybe traditional statistics is. So you work backwards from what's the metric we're trying to move, what's the best way that AI broadly can help with that, and then what's the best technique to apply or tactic to apply. And notice, I mean, you asked about kind of how I see AI platforms fitting in. notice like nothing I've said so far has anything to do with technology or with platforms, right? I mean, I think the idea that, oh, you just bring in some tool or some platform and all of a sudden that you're gonna be this like AI driven, model driven company. Like that's not how it works. It has to start with people and process and technology